All right, let's dive into something pretty wild today. We're going to unpack a case study that really gets at the heart of our weird online lives. It's all about the characters we play on the internet and what happens when those characters get dragged kicking and screaming into the real world.
So, I want you to think about this question right here. In a world where we all wear digital masks, what actually happens when the performance stops? Because that's what this story is all about. It's about that messy, super unpredictable collision between our online personas and, who we really are.
Okay, so to get why the online performance is so wild, we first have to get the person behind it. So let's meet our main character in all of this, a guy named Alberto Daniel Hill.
I mean, wow. This one line from his own bio tells you so much. We're not talking about some kid in a basement. This is a person whose entire life got turned upside down because of his skills and because he ran headfirst into a justice system that had no idea what it was dealing with.
So let's just walk through this, because it's a lot. It kicks off in 2014. He does the right thing, he's an ethical hacker, finds a flaw, and reports it. But instead of a thank you, he gets stuck in a legal nightmare for years. It ends with him being arrested in 2017 and forced into a fake confession just to protect his family. And then, and this is the kicker, 4 years later, the same agent who made him confess hits him up for cybersecurity training. You can't make this stuff up. It's just a perfect, tragic example of a system failing the very people trying to help it.
And just so we're all on the same page, what he was doing is called responsible disclosure. It's literally the textbook definition of being a good guy in the hacking world. You find a leak, you tell the owners privately so they can patch it before the bad guys find it. Simple as that. He was trying to prevent a problem.
So how did it go so wrong? Well, this system was just completely unprepared. They didn't have a law for hacking, so they tried to shoehorn it into attempted extortion. The cops grabbed his professional equipment and treated it like a bag of criminal tools. And the evidence they brought to court, get this, printed out firewall logs. For anyone who knows anything about digital forensics, that's like bringing a photograph of a fingerprint to court. It's totally useless. His whole ordeal wasn't just about a bug in some software, it was about a massive bug in the justice system itself.
Okay, so you've got that whole heavy, serious backstory locked in your head, right? Good. Now prepare for some serious tonal whiplash. We're leaving the real world behind and jumping onto the completely absurd digital stage of a group called the Pink Hat Experts.
And this is where it all gets kind of surreal. On the left, we have the real Alberto, a serious ethical hacker who literally forced a country to change its laws. And on the right, the character he plays online, a stripper who claims to know nothing about technology and asks questions like, how do you turn off a computer? It is an absolutely extreme and totally deliberate performance.
And yep, you heard that right, in his own words. He just dives head first into this character. He's playing this naive newbie who's come to these self-proclaimed experts for help. He's not just playing a part. He is actively, willingly, setting himself up to be the butt of the joke for the entire community.
And the advice he gets? It is just as ridiculous as his persona. The whole community is in on the joke. They're telling him about, quote, dick drives, telling him to leave his computer on 24/7 for safety, and even telling him to send nude photos for a career evaluation. It's all just one big, collaborative, completely unserious performance.
And right here, this is where the music stops. This is the collapse. The moment the parody just grinds to a halt. The tone is about to shift so fast it'll give you whiplash, as a real-life conflict just explodes onto the stage and shatters the entire performance. It all starts with this one sentence, from a user named CyberGirl10. And just like that, poof, the fun is over. The playful, silly atmosphere is just gone. This is clearly not part of the act. And the tension just goes through the roof. Suddenly, CyberGirl10 is not a character anymore. She's bringing a deeply personal, incredibly serious accusation against Alberto, and she's doing it live, in front of the very same people who were just joking about dick drives. The mood in the room just completely flatlines. You can see Alberto here trying desperately to put the genie back in the bottle. He's trying to de-escalate, to pull this very private fight offline. He's literally saying, it's not nice talking about this here, trying to rebuild that wall between his public performance and his private life that just got bulldozed. And this right here, this is the absolute core of it all. On one side, you had performative humiliation. It was a game. He was in on it. Everyone was in on it. It was a shared joke. But this
This is public disrespect. This is the opposite. It's one-sided, it's not a joke, and it has real stakes. It's a raw, private conflict being performed for an audience that has suddenly gone very, very quiet.
So, what happens after a meltdown like that? Let's get into the fallout and see what this whole mess tells us about our online lives and the real price you pay for performing on a digital stage.
So, what can we actually take away from all this? Well, first, it shows just how fragile our online personas are. They can be completely shattered by real life at any moment. Second, those boundaries we think we have between our public and private lives, they're basically imaginary and can just vanish. And of course, there's the audience effect. A private argument becomes a public spectacle, and that changes everything. But maybe the most important takeaway is how differently the two things were treated. The community loved the playful, fake humiliation. But when the real, painful stuff came out, silence. It shows us there are these unwritten rules about what kind of vulnerability is and isn't allowed online.
And that brings us to this final question, one that Alberto's whole journey really makes you think about. He was punished by the real world for his expertise, so he went online to perform as a fool, only to have his real life bleed through and get him punished there too. It makes you wonder, what does it really cost to be truly seen online with all your flaws and vulnerabilities? And on the flip side, what could we all gain if we were just a little more honest? Something to chew on.